Hey everyone! We have been spending some time this month talking about arthritis. And last week, if you joined me, you learned that there are I like to put these things in kind of buckets of the possible root causes for arthritis. And I have 3 buckets. One is possible autoimmune involvement, which means that you've been maybe diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and that is an autoimmune process, which means that your body, there's something triggering your immune system, and when your immune system gets triggered, not only is your body trying to get rid of whatever that trigger is, it's also attacking your own body cells. So as an example, if there's a food that your body is reacting to, then your body is sending out immune cells to get rid of that food, but in the process, it's also attacking your own joints, which is your own body cells. And that is sort of this combined immune response. The second bucket that I talked about last week is that arthritis could also be related to osteoarthritis, which is not an autoimmune process, but it's more of your body, an inflammatory response. So there's inflammation around your joints, and that is what is causing pain. And that inflammation could be a result of a lifetime of stress, some scar tissue, something called oxidative stress, which is just your body's lifetime of reacting to something, and eventually it leads to, pain in your joints. And we'll talk about each of these separately. And then the third possible bucket of a root cause for arthritis could be a lifelong virus that your body has not really your body really never gets rid of viruses, but your body can usually keep them at bay. And after many, many years, sometimes that is not possible anymore. Your body is not able to sort of keep that at bay as well, and that virus could start to kind of eat away at your joints and cause pain there. So number 1, autoimmune process. Number 2, a lifetime of inflammation that leads to pain. And number 3, that viral root cause. Now, what I wanted to do as we separate these buckets into different weeks of the month, let's talk about each one separately and talk about how you can use food and lifestyle to address that one root cause. So number 1, think about yourself, reflect on the possible root cause for you, and understand which one it is so that you can then know how to address it. So the number 1 that we're going to talk about this week is that autoimmune process that I already described to you. So when you are addressing autoimmunity, the number 1 thing is to figure out the trigger to your immune system. So a trigger could be food. So there could be either one or more foods that your body is reacting to. And like I said before, when your body reacts to that one food, in the same process, it's also attacking your joints. So that's that combined autoimmune process and then also a food insensitivity. If it's not food, it could be a stress. So sometimes people develop autoimmunity soon after experiencing a traumatic event. So that is an example of where stress can trigger autoimmunity, and then that could lead to that rheumatoid arthritis. Sometimes it's from being on antibiotics for a prolonged period of time. What happens when you're on antibiotics for a prolonged time is that those antibiotics attack the gut bacteria, so the healthy, good bacteria that live in your gut, and oftentimes that those antibiotics sort of attack those bacteria, and you end up with a little bit of damage to the gut microbiome, and that can trigger your immune system and lead to an autoimmune process such as rheumatoid arthritis. So you're, again, just like I've always kind of used your investigative powers here to understand which is the trigger for you. If it happens, if you don't know, I mean, sometimes it's very hard to understand or to figure out. The number one thing is think about the time that you were first diagnosed with the arthritis, the first time you started to experience that pain, and think over that year prior to the diagnosis or prior to the initial pain, and think about things that you possibly did that year. Was there a traumatic event? Did you have an infection leading to your need to use antibiotics for a prolonged period of time? Or maybe none of those things happened, and maybe there is a food that, while you may have tolerated all these foods for your whole lifetime, at some age your body starts to tell you, oh no, this food is no good for you anymore. And you might not know what food that is. So there are common food allergens, and this is where you can absolutely Google common food allergens, and I think there's like 7 or 8, but some of them are gluten, which is a protein that's found in wheat and other carbohydrate like breads, pastas, and grains. So gluten, dairy, corn, soy, shellfish, and there's a couple of others, but those are some common ones. So what some people will do to understand which of these foods is possibly triggering their immune system is you will go on something called an elimination diet, which is where you remove all of these foods from your diet for about 3 or 4 weeks. And then during that time period, number one, you try to understand if you're starting to feel better and that your joint pain is diminishing. And then number two, after those 3 or 4 weeks, you can very scientifically reintroduce only one of those foods at a time, and then your body will tell you, all of a sudden you will try to reintroduce a little bit of gluten and your body will react, and you'll immediately feel something in your joints or something in your gut or something, a swelling in your body or a rash on your skin, and that will tell you that that food was a food your body had been reacting to all this time and you had never known. So this investigative process of understanding the root cause of your autoimmune process will then help you to eliminate that trigger, and your joints will begin to feel better. So just as a review, right now we're talking about the one bucket possible cause of arthritis. Not everybody that has arthritis has this autoimmune process, but if that is something you've been diagnosed with, rheumatoid arthritis, then this is an autoimmune process which you're gonna have to try to understand what is the root cause. The root cause, the root trigger of that autoimmune is going to be different for everybody. If you are suspicious that it is a food, then you can absolutely contact me and we can work together. We would probably go through a process called an elimination diet where we would remove all of the common food allergens and then one by one add them back so you can better understand which food your body is reacting to. In the next couple of weeks, we'll also talk about the possible root causes of osteoarthritis, which is not an autoimmune process, and we will talk about what to do if we are suspicious that a virus is the root cause of your arthritis. I want to back up though and say that This is why it is not helpful to sort of run to the store and take a lot of these supplements that are being advertised for arthritis, because every single possible root cause is different, and not all these supplements that are being advertised for arthritis might not be appropriate for your particular individual situation. So that's why I really recommend seeking the advice and the support of a healthcare professional, because it does take a lot of work to understand which one of these root causes is your issue, and then what steps need to be taken to reverse your situation. In addition to that elimination diet that I talked about for the autoimmune process, some other steps to be taken are to heal the gut. If that's a possible root cause, that you've had some damage to the gut, either the gut lining itself or the bacteria that live in the gut, that is another important step to address in your efforts to reverse the autoimmune process of arthritis. And then, of course, to address any stressors, any emotional, mental stress that could have played a role, improving your sleep, improving the whole unprocessed food diet, making sure that you are getting fed all the nutrients that your body needs to heal and to balance the immune system. That's another big part of this autoimmune process, is balancing the immune system. So I hope this information was helpful for you today. If you are in that first bucket that I described of that autoimmune process or rheumatoid arthritis, then there are several steps that you can take to understand the trigger and address that trigger and reverse the autoimmune process. Not necessarily ever rid your body of autoimmunity, because that is something that will probably be with you for most of your life. However, you can absolutely keep it maintained and at bay so that you can live the most healthy, very high quality of life for many, 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 many years. So please feel free to contact me if you want more answers to these questions about this autoimmune process, and if you feel that you want to get working on this using food to maintain this condition. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you next time to address the other possible root causes for arthritis. Have a great week. Bye-bye.